The ranch are all grown now!
Why are you looking at me like that?
That armor you wear is standard issue for the Menancian Guard, right?
Originally, I've added some flair to it in a lot of places.
I know.
This is perfect! I'll have everybody's mouths water.
Make sure to get some good rest. I think we've rested long enough. Let's keep... moving.
I've noticed that sometimes we come across enemies who fight like you, and try to dodge our attacks at the last second.
I hate those guys. I can get some hits in when they move into attack, but otherwise they slip past damn near everything else I throw at them.
If what you're seeking is a way to more reliably hit them, there is a solution.
Try to outclass them on reflexes?
I possess the ability to command Earth elemental beings to some extent. They emerge as the land itself and take root on my command. They will swiftly bind the enemies, at which point you can dispatch them.
Huh?
What he means is that he can make plants grow to hold the enemies in place. At least I think that's probably what he's saying.
I'm glad at least one of us understands him. So basically, if we find an enemy that likes to dodge, we should let Dohalim handle it.
I shall do what I can within my modest means to help. Something feels odd here. Be on your guard. Discourteous, aren't you?
None will escape my
Dragon
blood!
Arm! Swallow dance!
I'm ready!
I don't feel good with it!
In an instant! Impact Claw!
To achieve such harmony.
Takes a singular will.
All right.
There's nowhere to run from my arts. When he slows down, that's our chance.
It's like trying to keep up with a wolf! Water! Here's my call!
No further.
Water! Hear my call! Talent!
Can't get out of this.
Glacial Spear! Pierce evil!
In a bind.
Talent Hurricane!
Freeze Lancer!
Eagle Fly!
None shall escape my judgment!
Not so fast. Can't get out of this.
Talent Hurricane! Eagle
No
Fly!
further.
Crumble! Talent Storm!
Silent Instant!
Tectonic Punch!
Prepare to be sealed, O fleet of foot.
You picked the wrong fight.
Sound is more appropriate.
Less talking, more doing!
Eagle Fly!
In a bind.
Talent Hurricane!
Annihilation! Reload! Zero Wind! Reload!
Elusive deity. I'll face you.
I'll stop your movement!
And I'll stop your life!
Glacial Spear, pierce evil! Do it! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished! Got some interesting moves there, Dohalim. I'm glad you're on our side.
I'm simply glad to hear that I can make myself useful to you all. Huh?
What's wrong?
We seem to have come across some rather unusual objects.
What, you mean that pile of garbage?
No mere garbage, I assure you. Still, I've never seen anything shaped like it before. I'm intrigued.
Are you curious about this stuff, Rinwell?
Yeah. I think he might have found some old Danon relics. They look like the remains of a bunch of objects that disappeared after the Renans first invaded.
And yet here I am, holding them without so much as a second thought. I imagine the sight must be unsettling to you.
Not really, just that it must be nice to be a Renan who has time to indulge in stuff like that, unlike the rest of us.
Are you interested in this stuff too, Dohalim?
Charmed may be a better turn of phrase. I simply love objects that can give me a sense of what their maker was thinking, the history that went into their creation. You see, we Renans have hardly any such objects that trace back to our distant past.
I still don't understand what you two find so intriguing about it, though.
Why not? We're talking about our own culture here.
I get that, but it's not like this stuff is any use now, does it? It's just old. Real old.
Oh, but it does. Holding it in your hands like this, one can feel and engage with the distant past in a way no history book can ever accomplish.
I'll take your word for it. Well, seeing as it's Danon history, just make sure you're careful with it. All right, Dohalim?
But of course. There's history in the air here. I can... Smell it.
I don't smell anything.
Don't encourage him.
Visibility along this path will remain limited for some time. Take care not to get ambushed.
I'm surprised you know the terrain here so well. Lords don't strike me as having much time for wandering in the woods.
Sometimes I would take strolls.
It'll be a breeze. Get in, get out.
Lionheart! Swallow dance! Orochi Fury!
One more. Airborne Phoenix.
I'm ready! Trevor! Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
See that?
That training's paying off! I'm ready! Orochi Fury!
Rip it. Now I'm in the groove.
Only the best... materials in your garments.
You really do have quite the discerning eye, Dohalim.
Yeah, they all kind of look the same to me.
It would appear I attract too much attention.
Dragon Swarm!
Talon Hurricane! Lunar Corruption! Glimmer Dragon!
Leave the agile ones to me.
Azure Storm!
Ferocious Fury! Flying freak!
See ya! Will you take care of them?
No sooner said than done.
We've turned the tables on them.
There are still more left.
Right. No time to hold back.
Ridwell! Light burst forth!
Radiant Genesis!
A freezing storm! Talon Storm! Ice Tornado!
Pile driver!
Ferocious Fury! Hear my call!
Dragon Swarm!
My exploits are bearing fruit.
So hilly around here. I can feel my feet getting blisters.
That's mountain hiking for you. It can be pretty tough if you're not used to these sorts of trails.
I take it you're...
Hey, when did I get so popular?
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished.
See you continue on in that vein. It's a duel of the arts! Do it!
Pesky airborne scoundrel!
Sounds like a job for yours truly!
Do it!
Barely a blip on our radar.
I just noticed none of you other Danans have spirit cores. Why is that?
Both of my parents were part of the resistance in Calaglia. In fact, my birth was kept a secret from the Renans.
Mine too. We always lived in hiding, so I never had a spirit core embedded in me like I was supposed to.
What about you, Alphen? You were a slave in Calaglia before all this, weren't you?
To be completely honest, I'm not sure why I don't have one. All the other Danan slaves around me did. I was the only exception. They tended to keep their distance from me to avoid attracting any attention from the soldiers, because of my mask and all. And what about you, Kisara? Do you still have your spirit core?
No. I was able to find a good Renan doctor who's sympathetic to our kind, and had them remove it before I left. They did such a great job, the procedure didn't even leave a scar.
One of the benefits of coexistence, huh?
I know that once the spirit vessel was shut down, there wasn't much need for me to hurry. But still, I didn't like having that mark of servitude lingering on me any longer than I had to. It may sound a little strange to hear me say this, but I'm just me now. Not a guardsman or a slave. I'm my own woman, and this is my chance to have a new beginning.
This sure is one rugged road. You'd think they'd keep this at least a little better maintained, right?
Why spend energy fixing that which is rarely used? Repairs require time and effort, which in our world means slaves, often in great numbers. For you, it may be a simple request, but that can quickly become another's difficult burden. Nobody gains anything without someone expending effort.
And you know, somehow that someone always ends up being a Danon, while the Renans are the ones who gain.
True enough. Ideally, in a perfect world, I think it's only fair that the ones who need it should be the ones to perform the work.
However, when doing so could be dangerous like it is here, there are many who would prefer that it be others who risk their lives in their stead.
So, what you're saying is that people will just put up with the inconvenience until someone else comes along to fix it for them?
Indeed. And it is those who can no longer bear that feeling that inevitably take action. Much like the Danons in our group do so now. As strange as it may be to hear such a thing from the likes of myself.
It's true that most of the Danons in Calaglia have been resigned to just accepting things as they are. Still, we can't just blame them for...
What are you making that face for? You're not worn out already, are you?
Nah, just regretting I ever said anything in the first place.
Retreat if you know what's good for you!
Glacial Spear! Here's Evil! Freeze Laser! Do it! Get toasty!
Burn strike!
Right, next one!
Already on!
Throwing
Swarm!
We've got fires
ready for you all!
All yours! Our weapons are the sword and...
This and...
Staff.
And you ruined it.
No choice! You're on! Dragon Swarm! Dragon Swarm!
We got the advantage.
Good. Just have to make sure we keep it.
Don't worry, because Law's on it. I'll finish you here and now.
We did it!
These little ones are hardly worth our time.
Yeah.
Less talking, more pummeling.
Cut them apart to your heart.
Come one, come all!
Can't get out of this.
Orochi's Fury! Eat them!
There you are.
ready! Law, get toasty!
Burn strike. There's always room for improvement.
This'll make us even more formidable.
More Danon ruins here too, I see.
What were people even thinking back then? Trying to build anything around here.
But maybe they just had that much time and energy on their hands.
An opponent like this should be easy. Now I can let loose. Orochi's Fury!
Here's Evil!
Dragon Swarm! Burn! Dragon Swarm!
Tornado drive.
Orochi's Fury! You picked the wrong fight! Orochi's Fury!
I've been doing really great lately.
I sure have built up a sweat with this hike.
Rest assured, we have reached the top.
Don't get careless.
Don't tell me!
No further!
Do it!
Eat this! Mega Ray!
Go! Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade!
See that?
That training's paying off!
Flame of Fury!
Dragon Form!
Dragon Count!
I'll finish you here and now!
Water! Here
Swallow Dam!
Don't get careless.
Still thinking about how to act around Dohalim?
That obvious, huh? Except I don't think I'll be changing much after all. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to stay his servant. However, I am going to treat him like a fellow comrade, the same way I would with you or anyone else. For as long as I can remember, I've spent my life protecting others. But isn't that what friends do too? Support and protect one another in times of need?
Which in the end pretty much means doing as you've always done, right? If that's what you're most comfortable with, I'm certainly not going to give you any grief over it.
Actually, I've been thinking about how I ought to act around you all as well.
Oh?
When I set out on this journey, it was to rid Eldaman and Sia of its enemies, and search for wisdom in the outside world. Wisdom that I could potentially put to use on my return. I'm grateful to you all for letting me tag along. But it got me thinking, what am I actually contributing by being here?
What are you talking about? You know how to hold a weapon, don't you? That's help enough.
Is it though? Sometimes I wish there was more I could be doing to pull my...
Oops, sorry about that. Jeez, I'm famished.
Now that you mention it, what do you guys normally do for food and meals when you're out and about on your travels?
What do you mean, what do we do? We find stuff to eat and eat it. So long as it's meat, I'm not fussy.
Eating what you like can be good for morale in the short term, but you need to think about your diet if you want to stay healthy.
Does that mean eating vegetables too?
Isn't that obvious?
It does, which I guess hasn't been happening up till now.
Yeah, to be honest, we could be eating better than we do.
Understood. In that case, I'll just have to make sure you're all staying healthy and eating right myself. Fortunately, I happen to know a thing or two about cooking as well.
You hear that, Law? Sounds like you'll be eating your greens after all.
What is it?
No, sorry, it's just... I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on all this.
It will do her good to have a project.
No, not Kisara. I meant you. Was there anything you wanted to add?
Me? Certainly you're not looking to me for culinary skill, I hope.
Typical Renan, leaving everything to someone else.
Rinwell, I don't think...
That said, should you need my skills on the battlefield, please rest assured I have no intention of shirking my responsibilities, regardless of who we may face.
I'm sure no one doubts that. Listen, guys, if we're traveling together, we should probably at least try to make an effort to get to know one another, don't you think?
I wouldn't get your expectations too high in that regard. Believe it or not, sometimes I'm not sure I even know myself all that well.